Okay, and I'm going to see Mary. I don't know. You might have to do. Oh, I think I can.
I just made you co-host. Did you see that?
Perfect. So in the chat, Mary has put the prayer book, so you can go into the chat and grab the prayer book as you so desire. And we're going to start on page 48 as we start most of our Shabbat services with a blessing over our children.
Oh, my child just left.
So let's take a moment. Oh, Al, beautiful. Al is pulling out his picture of his kids. If you have your kids or grandkids close by, pull them in tight. If you don't have them close by, maybe grab a picture of them as Al's doing or Mary's doing. Want to take a moment and close your eyes or lower your gaze and think about where they might be in the world if they're not there with you right now. Say personal blessing. Consider what personal blessings we have for our children, for our grandchildren, for the kids who might be in our lives. If we don't have any children, any grandchildren, the kids who might be in our lives that we help to raise in our community. And for those kids, we say the following. Yisimecha Elohim ke'Ephraim, B'chi Menashe. May God make you to be like Ephraim and Manasseh. Yisimech Elohim keSarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. May God make you to be like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Yasa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May Adonai bless you and watch over you. May Adonai shine upon you and be gracious to you. May Adonai look towards you and grant you peace. Let's bring out those Shabbat candles. There's Neely. Hi, Neely. Neely's with Papa. Let's bring out those Shabbat candles. Let's bring them into view. And as we light our Shabbat candles tonight, knowing that it's also New Year's Eve, the secular New Year's Eve, let's take a moment and reflect on our week and start some of our reflections on our year. Perhaps think about the bright spot that you might have had in this week, or a bright spot from the year. All the world was conspiring towards you. And there was beauty and grace that you saw in the world. And hold on to that moment for a second as we light our Shabbat candles. Bring the goodness of the world, the light of Shabbat, into our homes and into our hearts. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechaligne Shel Shabbat. As we let the light of Shabbat enter into our hearts, enter into our homes, we are also going to take a moment, and even though he's not with us tonight, we have some prayers and songs from Judd. that we're going to have to settle us into this Shabbat, this abbreviated Shabbat service tonight.
Page 11 is Lechadodi, as we welcome Shabbat. La 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 Lechadodi, ya la 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 Kakala, la 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 B'nei Shabbat, B'nei Shabbat Nikabela, Shamor v'Zachor, V'dibur echad, Yishmi'anu El Hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Shamor echad, Shemul Tiferet V'Litila Yaydai Yadadadadai Lechadodi Yadadadadai Lekrakala Yadadadadai B'nei Shabbat B'nei Shabbat Nikabela Likrat Shabbat Chuven Elcha Imekor Habracha Merosh Mikedem Esucha Sof Ma'aseh U'Machshava Techila Yaydai Yadadadadai Lechadodi Yadadadadai Lekrat Kala Yadadadadai B'nei Shabbat B'nei Shabbat Nikabela Hitori Adonai alichila, yaydai, 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 yaydai lechadodi, yaydai lekrat kala, yaydai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat Nikabela Boi v'shalom Teret bala Gam besimcha ובצער עולם תוכי מוני עמסי גולה בואי חלה בואי חלה יאי די די יאי די 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 לך דודי יאי די 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 לקראת קלה Panei Shabbat, Panei Shabbat, Nekabe, Yadadadai Lekadodi, Yadadadai Lekrat Kala, Yadadadai Panei Shabbat, Panei Shabbat, Nekabela. Page 14. Tzadik katamang yifrach yifrach. Tzadik katamang yifrach. Tzadik katamang yifrach yifrach. Tzadik katamang yifrach. Keres balvanon yiske. Keres balvanon yiske. Keres balvanon yiske yiske. Keres balvanon yiske. Keres balvanon yiske. Eres balvanon yiske yiske Tzadik katama yifrach yifrach Tzadik katama yifrach Tzadik katama yifrach yifrach Tzadik katama yifrach Eres balvanon yiske Eres balvanon yiske Eres balvanon yiske yiske Eres balvanon yiske, eres balvanon yiske, eres balvanon yiske, yiske. Page 16 is the Baruch, and we're going to welcome all of us to prayer. Do-do-do. Do 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 do. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Do 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 do. Blessed is the blessed one. Blessed is the giver of blessing. Blessed is this moment and every now to come. Blessed is the blessed one. Blessed is the giver of blessing. Blessed is this moment and every now to come. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam. head. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come, come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
We needed just a little bit of Judd to have us settle into this Shabbat and into this Erev New Year. Can we say that? Erev New Year? I think that's fair. We're gonna, for the rest of the service, we're just gonna have a little bit of a taste of the normal structure of Shabbat. We'll say the Shema, not the whole way, Hafta. We'll do a quiet meditation for the Amidah. Because we have a good bit of our community and a minyan together, we'll say a healing prayer, and we'll have an opportunity for a mourner's Kaddish. And then I have just a little teaching, just a little blessing for this Shabbat and this new year. So that's our Shabbat, our mini abbreviated Shabbat tonight. But since Judd entered us into prayer with the Baruch Hu, let's go to page 17 if you have the online Siddur, if you have the Siddur in front of you. Let's take a moment to say our central prayer in our service, the Shema. Let's take a deep breath before we do so. As is tradition, you can cover your eyes to really help with focusing in on the importance and the value of this prayer, the central prayer in our faith tradition. We'll recite it together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Let's take a moment and turn to page 25 if you have your Siddur. If you want to have a little bit of structure for the Amidah, if you're so willing and engaged to rise during this part of this service for our standing prayer, please do so if you're able. If you like to use the structure of the prayers, you can follow along as our prayer book goes through our Amidah and prayers. So we think about our ancestors and we think about God's strength and the beauty of Shabbat and peace in our world. And if you prefer just to take this minute of quiet to be able to reflect on this Shabbat and on this new year to come, perhaps reflect back or perhaps reflect forward on what you might hope for this new year to come. Let's take a moment of quiet meditation and prayer for our standing prayer for our Amidah on this New Year's Eve, on this Shabbat. as you come out of your meditation, or as you continue your prayers and your Amidah. Welcome those who joined. Welcome to Ingrid, her family. Paula down in Dallas. Joined since we hopped on last. I'm going to take a moment, and since we do have a minyan, our gathering together, let's take a moment and say a Mishaberach. Let's think about those loved ones in our lives who are in need of healing. Whether it's physical healing or emotional healing or spiritual healing. If you're willing to lower your gaze or close your eyes and picture those loved ones. Think about where they are in the world. Think about sending them all of your loving energy, all of your healing energy. And if you're willing to, and you know they'd be comfortable with sharing the name of that loved one with our community, then we'll bring Judd back in from his virtual world to sing a Mishaberach, and then we'll do just a little teaching before we wrap up. Al.
Julie Alexander.
Thanks, Al. Mary, thanks for sharing. Maggie Radford, Frank Lundy, Lulav. Continuing to share healing thoughts for Marty Kokol. Bev, we're continuing to send you healing thoughts and prayers. For Achaya, Bat Miriam, Betsy Dove. Team Krasnow, sending you all healing thoughts and prayers, Ingrid. All right, Mary, will you share Judd's singing of the Mishaberach?
The wounds count us for time. It's the one who blesses. Come on. Do 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 do. ומחדש לעצמתם. מונה מספר לכוכבים. לחלום שמות תקרא. Healer of the broken-hearted, binder of the wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know where they are. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Ana Elna Refa healer of the brokenhearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who we are. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Judd, wherever you are. That was pretty talented how he moved back and forth between the Baruch Hu and the Misha Berach like that. That was, well, it was a recording, okay. It was a recording. Just a little teaching I want to share on this New Year's Eve, on this Shabbat. This week's Parsha is Va'era, and I think it's Besheret that we read it. I think it's meant to be that we read it on this Shabbat, on New Year's Eve. And it's something that's pretty recognizable for us, for many of us. We find that our people are in the midst of slavery in Egypt, and Moses has taken the mantle of leadership and is speaking in this week's Parsha directly and working directly with God towards our freedom and our ultimate redemption as a people. And this week, for context, if you haven't had a chance to read the Parsha, this week we read about the first 7 of the 10 plagues. And each time we read, God hardens Pharaoh's heart and our people remain enslaved. And I know, so that gives you a little context of where we are in the Torah. And if you were following along with Nora's amazing drash last week, that also gave you context. Nora, thank you for your beautiful teaching last week. And I know many of us, as we enter into last week's Parsha, this week's Parsha, and the one to come, many of us remember these Parshot, not because of our readings of it around this time of year, but because of the reading of our story in the Haggadah each Passover. But why do we read this Parsha now? Why do we read this story around this time of year instead of during Passover? And like anything in Judaism, I think there's a lot of ways we can answer this question. And I explored this question with Rabbi Feivel this week, and he shared some reflections and thoughts. So I wanted to share one of the thoughts he shared with me. And he shared that we read it earlier than Passover so that we can do the work necessary before Passover begins. We can do the work necessary before Passover begins. And I've always thought of this idea of doing the work necessary before a holiday begins as it relates to, for example, the month of Elul, or the 10 days before Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. These days and these weeks and this month that precedes Yom Kippur, so that we can prepare for our work of Tshuva, our work of return, our work of return to our best selves. But Passover, I didn't quite understand this. What's the work of Passover? What do we need to be preparing for? And so we dove into this in conversation. As we discussed it during Passover, and as we know, our Haggadot, our Haggadahs instruct that in each generation, each person is obligated to see him or herself, lirot et atzmo, as though he or she personally came forth from Egypt. We've read this before. We read it every spring when we open up the Haggadah. We have to tell this story as if we personally came out of Egypt. The retelling is not just about history. It's a lesson we need to teach our children of how each one of us can recognize the lived experience of bondage, our own experience of that, call it out and be redeemed. And all this takes work. Feivel told me the story of a friend who looks through all his nooks and crannies for crumbs. We know this tradition in Passover, right? We take a candle around our house. We look through all the nooks and crannies for chametz, for leavened food, for all those crumbs, and you gather it and you burn it. and his friend. He does all of this work, as many folks in our community do. And then afterwards, when he's done the cleaning part, when he's done the searching part, when he's done the burning part, he actually sits down with his journal and he does all the work looking into his own nooks and crannies. What's the chametz himself the past year? What are the things that he wants to identify, he wants to clean up, and he wants to move forward? A reflection on the year, a reflection of what's our chametz, what's our shmutz, where are we stuck? This is our work of redemption we need to do each year. Do ourselves. And this is one way, this is one of the ways to see ourselves as if we've come forth from bondage, from slavery in Egypt. What does it look like for each one of us? And then to retell that story to our kids, for them to see that, to know that it's a lived experience for each one of us. So maybe, just maybe, why do we read this parsha now? Maybe it's because we need to remember this story now, so we can do our own personal work of redemption and weave this personal work into our retelling in a few months from now. And what a better night to start this project than on a secular New Year's Eve, when our culture all around us encourages us to pause, to reflect back and look on the year, and to set resolutions for this year to come. And perhaps that's why this week's parsha, the story of our people's redemption, makes so much sense to land on New Year's Eve, to remind us to do some reflecting back, some resolutions forward. So when we return to our people's story of redemption during Passover, it's not a historical retelling. We can truly tell this story as if it's us coming forth from Egypt. We can tell it through our own lens of redemption. If we do that work, hopefully it will be not only a sweet Shabbat, a sweet New Year, but also a sweet Passover to come in just a couple months. I don't know if it's an appropriate way to wrap up a small teaching, but I feel like I should say it. Shana Tova M'tuka. May it be a good and sweet New Year for you all. I think if we are able to say that twice, we might as well, and we might as well soak up the sweetness of these secular and our Jewish New Year, which we'll celebrate again soon. Happy New Year, y'all. Sweet New Year. Shabbat Shalom. Since we have a minyan, if folks would like to do a mourner's Kaddish, I'd like to create that space, and then we'll do a blessing over bread and wine. So let's pause for a moment. The mourner's Kaddish in our prayer books can be found on page 44, and I'd like to create that space for our community as we do have a minyan here. If you are in a period of mourning, if you are commemorating a yard site, the anniversary of a loved one's passing, if you're just thinking about someone who's no longer with us and you'd like to bring their name and their sweet blessed memory into our community, I'd like to create that space for our community now. And I'd like to open up the Zoom for folks to unmute and bring the name of loved ones to our community. Kevin.
Yeah, today is the yard site for Ingrid's mom, Lynn Dreistacker.
May her memory be for a blessing.
I never met her, but I wish I did.
Mom.
Phyllis Gensler.
May her memory be for a blessing, Mom. Lisa, we continue to share Ann K. Kramer's name. May her memory be for a blessing. We share the name of our community members: Dr. Stuart Joel Abrams, Todd Bergstein, Alan Doss, Ellen Doss, Arthur Neil Fracht, Alan Hirschfield, Susan Herman, David Holmes, Jeffrey Joel, Stephen Capello, Phil Kalani, Emmy Knobloch, David Kornblum, Hillary Leberfeld, Jan Levinson, Sally Mortensen, Larry Reeser, Ron Sapol, Scott Stachel, Elliot Sussman, David Turkier, Herb Lip, Jim Wolfenson, Elaine Wolfenson, Larry Nussdorf, Ron Novak, David Goldfarb, Eli Sedlin. Their memories be for a blessing. Able and willing, if you're in a period of mourning, or if you're able and willing to and stand with those who are in mourning, stand together as a community. We'll recite the Mourner's Kaddish on page 44 in our prayer books. And feel free to unmute to recite this together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, ve'amad divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'yomechon u'chaye dachol Beit Yisrael, va'agala u'vizman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yit hadar v'yit haleh v'yit halal shemei dekudasha brechu le'elam mim kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah mim shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, ve'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Friends, as we transition our evening to hopefully what will be meals for those who are sitting down, or celebrations to be able to welcome in the new year, let's bless this time. Let's bless our community. Let's bless each other by breaking some bread and saying a blessing over some wine. Is anyone interested in leading the blessing over the wine? Would anyone be interested in doing that? Just unmute if you're interested and willing. I'm happy to add the long version in the chat if folks want, or we can do the short version. Anyone interested? Or I can certainly lead it. Okay, well, let's see who has some wine. Charlene's got her wine. Al's got some. You and Margaret, wonderful. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu ושבת קדשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תהילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים שבת קדשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Okay. Barb Clayman's working on the gluten-free challah, y'all. Watch out. We got a gluten-free challah effort by Barb. Mom will give it a try, see how it is, but we also have some kids to lead the blessing.
Let me see that gluten-free challah. Barb, can you share that recipe with us sometime? Because my son is now gluten-free.
I will be happy to. It's a work in progress.
I can't believe you actually braided and didn't do it like in a pan.
I did it in a pan
Beautiful.
Secret.
because the braided one didn't work out quite so well.
Hard to braid
But I-
liquid.
I will share.
We're on gluten-free challah number 2 since we've been here.
All right, well, keep sharing with us. Looking forward to learning more.
Well, if you have a challah, hold it up. If you don't have a challah, reach out into the Zoomagog worlds, reach out across the internet waves. Imagine we're all together, putting a hand on the challah or on the shoulder of a beloved community member right next to us. And let's bless some bread and break some bread together, shall we? Go for it.
We give thanks to God for bread, although his
Rise.
rising sun together, as our grateful prayer is said. Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, motzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Okay, can I just take a picture?
Rip it. Hey, Shabbat Shalom,
She said how
y'all.
much
Sweet,
we
sweet
want to
Shabbat to
start.
everyone. A sweet, sweet new year. Please unmute, visit for a bit.
And Happy New Year to you, Josh, and your family, and
Thanks, Phil.
soon, and hopefully look forward to seeing you soon.
I look forward to it. Very much look forward to it. Yeah, sweet,
Shabbat
sweet,
shalom.
sweet new year to you.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Barb,
Mary, Happy New Year.
thanks. Happy New Year to you too, guys.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Happy
New
quarantining for
Year.
all those.
Shabbat Shalom, Al. Happy
Shabbat
New Year.
shalom. See you tomorrow morning.
Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Shabbat Shalom. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thanks, Kevin. Happy New Year.
Shabbat Shalom, Kev.
As kids say, see you next year.
One, Shabbat Shalom.
Next year. Is that Isaac? That Isaac?
Oh, we got an Isaac.
What's up,
We have an
Isaac?
Isaac sighting.
Can they hear me?
Yeah.
Hi,
Good to see you, Isaac.
good to see you.
Man, a few words.
That's Emma. We got her boy home.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbos,
All right,
Papa.
guys.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Phil.
See
Bye,
you next
Elisa.
year.
See you next year, next
See you
week.
soon.
Okay, bye-bye. I'm gonna
Bye.
end the meeting. Bye, Josh. Good luck.
Bye,
Nora.
Mary. Bye, Nora. Good Shabbos.
Bye,
Happy
Bev.
New Year. Bye, Bev. Good Shabbos. Happy New Year.